The front door slammed like a thunderclap in the dead of night, rattling the windows of the old Victorian on Elm Street. "You're dead to us, Alex. Get out and never come back." Dad's voice cracked through the wood, laced with venom that Emily had never heard before. Not even in his worst bar fights. She froze in the shadowed hallway, her bare feet cold on the oak floor, clutching the banister as if it could anchor the world from spinning into chaos. Alex's backpack hit the porch with a thud, followed by the jangle of his keys scattering across the welcome mat, the one Mom had embroidered with "Home Sweet Home" in cheerful blues. Emily's breath caught as she peered through the lace curtain, watching her little brother's silhouette crumple under the porch light, shoulders heaving in silent sobs that tore at her soul like barbed wire. In that frozen heartbeat, as the screen door creaked shut on their fractured family, Emily made a vow to the empty air. She wouldn't leave. Not yet. She'd stay, burrow into the rot beneath their perfect facade, and unearth the truths that would bring them all crashing down. Or maybe, just maybe, force them to see the light. Emily Harper had always been the good daughter, the one who baked apple pies for church potlucks and volunteered at the local shelter without a single complaint. At 22, she was the pride of Willow Creek, Ohio, a sleepy Midwest town where Friday nights meant high school football under floodlights and Sundays were reserved for sermons that thundered against the sins of the world. Her family was the epitome of American normalcy. Dad, a stern auto mechanic with calloused hands and a Bible verse tattooed on his forearm. Mom, a part-time librarian who hummed hymns while folding laundry. And Alex, the baby of the family, with his easy laugh and sketches of city skylines hidden in his sketchbook. But that normalcy had cracked wide open 2 weeks ago, on the night of Alex's high school graduation party. Emily still replayed it in her mind like a nightmare on loop. The backyard strung with fairy lights, neighbors milling about with plastic cups of punch, Uncle Ray cracking dad jokes by the grill. Alex had been glowing, his cap tassel swinging as he hugged friends goodbye. Then, in the quiet aftermath, Dad found the phone. Not Alex's, Emily's. She'd borrowed it to snap a photo, and there it was, the text thread she glimpsed but never pried into. Alex and some boy named Jordan from the art club, hearts and whispers that painted a picture Dad couldn't stomach. The explosion was biblical. Dad's face had gone purple, veins bulging like rivers on a map. "What the hell is this abomination?" he'd roared, shoving the phone under Alex's nose. Mom had gasped, hand to her mouth, while Alex stammered, "Dad, please, it's not. I'm gay, okay? I'm gay, and I can't change it." The words hung in the air like smoke from a fire that refused to die. Dad's response? A backhand that split Alex's lip, followed by the ultimatum. Pack your bags or face the wrath of God and the whole damn town. Emily had tried to intervene, stepping between them with her voice breaking. "Dad, stop. He's your son." But Dad had turned on her like she was the enemy too, eyes wild. "You knew? You hid this from us." She hadn't, not fully, but the accusation stung like salt in a wound. By morning, Alex was gone, hitchhiking to Cleveland with $50 she'd slipped him and a promise. "Call me when you're safe, Em. I love you." Now, 2 weeks later, the house felt like a tomb. Mom tiptoed around Dad's tempers, serving his eggs sunny side up even as her own eyes hollowed out. Church elders stopped by with casseroles and condolences, whispering about praying for Alex's soul, while eyeing Emily like she might be tainted too. She played the part, smiling through gritted teeth, nodding at Pastor Hale's lectures on family values. But inside, fury simmered like a pot left too long on the stove. Her first move was subtle. The family computer in Dad's den, password protected but not foolproof. Emily waited until he was at the shop, Mom at her book club, then slipped in like a ghost. The browser history was a confessional of hypocrisies. Dad, the man who quoted Leviticus at dinner, had tabs open to sites Emily blushed to even glance at. Discreet escorts in Columbus, chat rooms for discreet married men. Her stomach churned as she screenshotted, fingers trembling on the keys. Not for revenge, she told herself. For proof. Proof that the man casting stones lived in a glass house. But it was more than Dad. The real poison seeped from Grace Evangelical Church, where Pastor Hale preached fire and brimstone against the gay agenda every Sunday. Emily had grown up on those pews, singing Amazing Grace until her throat ached, believing every word. Now, she saw the cracks. Whispers in the fellowship hall about Elder Tom's prodigal son, who'd run off to San Francisco years ago, never to return. And then there was the youth group scandal hushed up last spring. A deacon's kid caught with pot, forgiven with a slap on the wrist, while Alex was exiled for loving who he loved. Emily started digging deeper, her librarian mom's access key to the county archives a godsend. Late nights in the dim basement, microfiche reels whirring like secrets uncoiling. She found it buried in old newsletters. Pastor Hale's early days, fresh out of seminary, railing against civil rights marches in the 60s. But flip a few pages, and there was a photo, Hale shaking hands with a local Klan affiliate at a family values rally. Forged in fire, Emily thought, her pen scratching notes furiously. And Dad? He'd been there too. A fresh-faced teen in the background, holding a sign that read, "Keep America Pure." The evidence piled up like autumn leaves. Emails from church board meetings, forwarded carelessly to the family account, discussing reparative therapy retreats that bordered on torture. Screenshots of donations funneled to anti-LGBTQ lobbyists in D.C., masked as missionary work. Emily's journal swelled, pages filled with dates, names, quotes, a dossier that could unravel the whole rotten tapestry. Meanwhile, Alex's calls came sporadic, his voice a lifeline across the miles. Cleveland's a beast, he'd say, static crackling on the line. Sleeping on couches, flipping burgers at some dive. But hey, met this guy, Theo. Artist type. Makes me laugh. Emily would curl up in her childhood bed, whispering encouragement, ignoring the ache of missing him. Theo sounded like sunlight after rain. A barista with ink-stained fingers and stories of Paris that made Alex's voice light up. Their first date? A picnic in the park? Stolen kisses under willow trees. Emily lived for those details. The romance blooming in Alex's words like wildflowers pushing through concrete. But staying meant lies. At dinner, Dad would grunt about the devil's influence in schools, and Emily would murmur agreement, her fork scraping the plate to hide the bile rising. Mom caught her once, eyes sharp over her bifocals. "You talk to him?" she'd whisper in the kitchen, flour-dusted hands twisting a dish rag. Emily nodded, and Mom's face crumpled. Tell him I pray for him every night." It was the closest to an apology, and it broke Emily a little more each time. One evening, as fireflies danced outside, Dad dropped the bomb. "Church board meeting tomorrow. Pastors pushing a new initiative. Protect Our Youth campaign. Guest speaker from Focus on the Family." His eyes gleamed with zeal, the same fire that had burned Alex out of their lives. Emily's pulse raced. This was it, their chance to weaponize the town's fear, fundraise off Alex's ghost. She excused herself early, feigning a headache, and retreated to her room. The journal mocked her from the nightstand. Was it enough? Or would she have to become the betrayer to save her brother? As thunder rumbled in the distance, Emily fired off a text to Alex. "Hold on. Storm's coming for them." His reply pinged back. "Love you, sis. You're my hero." She clutched the phone to her chest, tears hot on her cheeks. Hero? She felt like a thief in her own home. But for Alex, for the boy who'd once built forts with her in the backyard, dreaming of adventures beyond Willow Creek, she'd steal the stars if it meant giving him back the sky. The next day dawned muggy, the air thick with unspoken sins. Emily volunteered to help at the meeting, fetching coffee, arranging chairs in the church basement's fluorescent glow. Pastor Hale arrived in his pressed suit, charisma oozing like honeyed poison. "Sisters and brothers," he boomed to the assembled faithful. "We stand at the gates of Sodom once more. Our children are at risk, from the liberals, the media, the unnatural urges that twist God's design." Emily poured creamer into styrofoam cups, her hands steady despite the rage boiling inside. Dad sat front row, nodding like a bobblehead. She slipped her phone under the table, recording Hale's every word, the drone of his rhetoric about curing the afflicted, When the guest speaker took the mic, a slick-suited man from DC with a PowerPoint of cherry-picked stats, Emily's opportunity struck. The handouts, glossy pamphlets detailing success stories of conversion therapy, complete with testimonials that smelled of coercion. She palmed one, tucking it into her purse. Later, in the ladies' room, she photographed every page, the lies leaping out like accusations. 98% success rate, lies. She'd Googled it on her burner app, debunked by every reputable psych org. Her collection grew, a digital arsenal aimed at the heart of their empire. But doubt crept in like fog off the river. What if exposing this destroyed Mom? What if Dad never forgave her? Alex's latest call had been buoyant. Theo had invited him to a gallery opening, their hands brushing in the crowd, sparks flying like 4th of July. It's real, Em. This love. It's the kind of thing that makes the hurt worth it. Emily envied that purity, the romance unfolding in stolen moments amid the grind. She wanted to believe in it, to fight for a world where Alex could hold Theo's hand without fear. That night, as cicadas chorused outside, Emily confronted her reflection in the bathroom mirror. Freckles dusted her nose, green eyes shadowed by exhaustion. "You're doing this for him," she whispered. But the girl staring back looked like a stranger, a warrior disguised in cardigans and pearls. The line between protector and destroyer blurred, and in her heart, she wondered if toppling them would leave anything standing at all. Summer in Willow Creek stretched lazy and oppressive, the kind of heat that made tempers fray and secrets sweat out through the cracks. Emily's days blurred into a rhythm of deception. Mornings at the community college, where she studied social work with a fervor that surprised even her professors. Afternoons shadowing Mom at the library, ears perked for gossip among the retirees. Evenings in the den, mining Dad's laptop while he nursed a beer in front of the TV. The Protect Our Youth campaign gained steam, banners sprouting on lampposts like weeds. Guard your family. Say no to sin. Church attendance swelled, drawn by the spectacle, and Emily played her role to perfection. She joined the volunteer committee, her suggestions laced with feigned enthusiasm. What if we host a youth forum? Get the kids talking about their struggles. Pastor Hale beamed at her, clapping her shoulder. Emily Harper, you're a blessing, just like your father taught you. If only he knew. Her forum idea was a Trojan horse. She organized it for the following Saturday, inviting speakers from both sides. A local therapist who specialized in affirming LGBTQ youth slipped in under the guise of balance. The board grumbled, but Hale approved it as showing Christian compassion. Emily's heart hammered as she prepped the room, arranging folding chairs in neat rows, a pitcher of lemonade sweating on the side table. Alex's updates were her oxygen. "Theo painted me," he texted one midnight, attaching a blurry photo of a canvas. Swirling blues and golds capturing Alex midlaugh, eyes alight with something sacred. "Says I'm his muse. It's terrifying and beautiful." Emily replied with emojis, hearts, fists pumping. But inside, she ached for the distance. Cleveland was only 4 hours away, but it might as well have been the moon. She plotted a visit, scraping pennies from her part-time gig at the diner, dreaming of a weekend where she could hug him, meet Theo, witness the love that had pulled him from the brink. Betrayal came swift and sharp, like a knife slipped between ribs. It was Uncle Ray, of all people, Dad's brother, the jolly drunk who officiated barbecues with bad puns. He'd cornered her after services, breath sour with coffee. "Heard you're sweet on that Ramirez boy from the garage. Careful, girl, folks talk." Emily's blood ran cold. Ramirez? She barely knew him. A quiet mechanic with kind eyes who'd fixed her Civic for free last month. But Ray's leer told her the truth. Dad had been watching, suspicious since Alex left. "Family sticks together, Em. Don't make me tell your pa you're slipping." She confronted Dad that evening, the kitchen thick with the scent of meatloaf. "Is it true? You spying on me?" Dad's fork paused midair, eyes narrowing over his glasses. "Spying? I'm protecting you. After what your brother dragged into this house." Mom hovered by the sink, silent as a shadow. Emily's voice rose, edged with steel. Alex didn't drag anything. He was born this way. And if you think I'm like him, Dad slammed his fist, the table jumping. You'd turn your back on God for that filth? On us? The word us hung heavy, a chain around her neck. Mom finally spoke, voice small. Emily, please. We're all hurting. Hurting. As if Alex's exile was a shared bruise, not a deliberate wound. The fight simmered into silence, but Emily's resolve hardened like clay in a kiln. She doubled down, her journal now a war binder. Tabs for finances, church coffers swollen by fear-mongering drives, testimonies, anonymous notes from ex-members about shaming sessions, and now, personal sins. Dad's late nights at the shop? Not overtime. She'd tailed him once, parking her beat-up Civic a block away, watching him slip into a seedy motel on Route 23. The woman who emerged, blonde, laughing, half Dad's age, confirmed what the browser history hinted. Hypocrite. The youth forum arrived like a storm front. The basement buzzed with nervous energy. Teens slouched in hoodies, parents clutching purses like shields. Pastor Hale opened with a prayer for guidance in turbulent times. His smile tight. Emily introduced the speakers, her voice steady. First, a church elder droning about purity rings. Then, Dr. Lena Voss, the affirming therapist, with her gentle cadence and stats on mental health crises among queer youth. Chaos erupted midway. A mother in the back row shot up, face twisted. This is indoctrination. My boy doesn't need your liberal lies. Hale tried to mediate, but the room fractured shouts, chairs scraping. A Bible thumped on a table. Emily stood frozen as fists clenched. Then a voice cut through, her own. Enough. Head swiveled. We're here to listen, not lynch. If we can't face the truth, what kind of Christians are we? Silence fell, heavy as judgment. Hale's eyes bored into her, suspicion flickering. Dr. Voss wrapped up amid glares, slipping Emily a card. Call if you need an ear, kid. You're braver than you know. As the crowd dispersed, Dad pulled her aside, grip bruising. What the hell was that? Undermining the pastor. Emily yanked free. Truth, Dad. Ever heard of it? That night, the house crackled with unspoken accusations. Mom baked cookies, her crisis ritual, leaving them cooling on the counter like peace offerings. Emily ignored them, barricaded in her room, uploading forum audio to an encrypted drive. Alex called at 11 p.m., voice hushed. Heard about the forum from a friend of a friend. You okay? She laughed, brittle. Peachy. Just toppling empires one awkward silence at a time. How's Theo? Theo. The name conjured romance like a spell. Alex spun tales of their world. Midnight drives to Lake Erie, windows down, hands intertwined over the gearshift. Shared sketches under cafe lamplight, where Theo's lines met Alex's in a dance of vulnerability. He gets it, the hiding, the fear. But with him, I don't hide. Emily soaked it in, a vicarious balm. Yet envy gnawed. Her own life was a drought, dates fizzling under the weight of secrets. Mark from college had asked her out twice. She'd begged off with excuses, terrified of adding another layer to the lie. Betrayal deepened when she discovered Mom's complicity. Rifling through the laundry for quarters, petty theft to fund her escape fund. Emily found it. A crumpled letter in Mom's apron pocket, addressed to Pastor Hale. Dear Reverend, I fear for Emily's soul. She's been distant since Alexander left. Pray she doesn't follow his path. The words blurred through tears. Mom, her soft-spoken anchor, reporting her like a snitch. Emily confronted her in the garden at dusk, roses heavy with bloom. How could you? Mom's face drained of color. I thought it would help. Bring you back to us. Us. Emily hurled the letter at her feet. Alex is us, and you're helping them bury him alive. Mom sank to the bench, sobbing. I love him, Emily, but the church. It's all I have left. The admission cracked something in Emily. A glimpse of Mom's own cage, built brick by fear. For the first time, pity mingled with her anger. Then help me break it, she whispered. Mom looked away, but the seed was planted. As August waned, Emily's dossier neared completion. A 200-page indictment of lies, ready to email to the local paper, the state attorney general, anyone who'd listen. But the cost mounted. Sleepless nights, anonymous notes slipped under her door, sinner's daughter, and Dad's growing distance, his eyes tracking her like a hawk. Alex sensed it. Come to Cleveland, Em. Now. Theo says there's a spare room. Temptation clawed at her. Run. But vows weren't broken lightly. The climax brewed at the campaign's grand rally. A tent revival on the fairgrounds, fireworks of faith under the stars. Hale promised miracles. Dad was to testify. His prodigal son, story twisted into a cautionary tale. Emily's plan crystallized. Infiltrate, record, release. But as she dressed in her Sunday best, heart thundering, she wondered if redemption came at the price of everything she loved. The fairgrounds pulsed with fervor under a bruised autumn sky, the massive tent billowing like the lungs of a beast inhaling the faithful. Strings of bulbs cast a golden haze over folding chairs crammed with Willow Creek's finest. Farmers in flannel, housewives fanning themselves with programs, teens scrolling phones beneath the preaching. Banners screamed, "Protect our youth, stand for God," and the air hummed with gospel hymns, a choir of voices rising like smoke from an altar. Emily wove through the crowd, her sundress fluttering against her legs, a hidden recorder clipped to her bra like a talisman. Dad had left early, proud as punch to be the evening's anchor. Mom had stayed home, claiming a migraine. Emily suspected guilt, the letter's ghost haunting her. As Emily claimed a seat near the front, her phone buzzed. "Alex, rally tonight? Be safe. Theo and I are binging old movies, wish you were here." A photo followed. The two curled on a thrift store couch, Theo's arm draped casual and sure around Alex's shoulders, popcorn scattered like confetti. Emily's throat tightened. That easy intimacy, it was what she'd fight for, what her brother deserved without apology. Pastor Hale took the stage to thunderous applause, his suit crisp as Judgment Day. "Brothers and sisters, tonight we reclaim our town from the shadows." Spotlights swept the tent, catching faces slick with sweat and zeal. He paced, mic in hand, painting doomsday visions. Schools overrun by gender confusion. Families torn by unnatural loves. Emily's nails dug into her palms, the words a barrage against her skin. Then came the testimonies, Elder Tom, voice quavering about his wayward boy, a mother whose daughter had come back to Jesus after therapy. Lies, all of it polished to a sheen. Dad's turn arrived like a verdict. He lumbered on stage. The man who'd once tossed Emily into the air at county fairs, now a pillar of righteousness. "My son," he began, voice gravelly, "fell to temptation. The devil whispered sweet nothings, and he listened." Gasps rippled. Emily's stomach roiled. Dad spun the yarn. Alex's confusion, the heartbreak of discovery, the tough love that saved his soul. But God provides. "Emily, my daughter. She stayed true. She's the light in our storm." He gestured vaguely toward the crowd, and Emily shrank, heat flooding her face. Applause erupted, but to her, it was the roar of a cage slamming shut. Intermission brought ice cream trucks and cotton candy, a carnival mask over the madness. Emily slipped backstage, heart pounding, to congratulate Dad. The green room was a makeshift affair. Mirrors cracked, coffee urn steaming. He hugged her stiffly, pride radiating. "Did good, huh?" She nodded, forcing a smile, while her free hand palmed his phone from the folding table. Unlocked, as always. 3 minutes. Frantic scrolls through texts, a thread with Cindy from the motel. Explicit enough to curdle milk. Screenshots captured. Phone replaced. Betrayal tasted like ash. But the real serpent struck as she exited. Uncle Ray, lurking by the flap, eyes beady. "Fancy seeing you here, Em." His grin was a snare. Before she could bolt, he grabbed her wrist. "Your pa's speech touched my heart. But you, sneaking around like a fox in the henhouse." Panic surged. How much did he know? "Let go," she hissed, twisting free. Ray leaned in, breath hot. I saw you with that Ramirez kid. And now this? Stirring trouble at the forum? Family first, girl. Or else. The threat landed like a blow. Emily fled to the porta-potties, gulping air, tears stinging. Or else what? Disownment? Exposure? Her mind raced to Alex, safe in Cleveland, building a life with Theo's steady hand guiding him through job hunts and first apartments. Their latest story. A rainy afternoon in an art supply store, Theo teaching Alex to mix paints. Fingers streaked blue as they kissed in the aisle, oblivious to the world. It's like breathing, Alex had said. I didn't know I was holding it in. Rally resumed with the guest speaker, a firebrand from the national org, projecting slides of threats to American values. Emily tuned out, plotting her counterstrike. The drive was ready, uploaded to an anonymous server, queued to blast to media outlets at dawn. But Ray's words festered. She texted a friend from college, Sarah, who'd come out last year. Need backup. Rally's a powder keg. Sarah's reply, on my way. Pride, not fear. Climax ignited mid-sermon. Hale called for commitments. Sign the pledge. Stand against the tide. Ushers passed clipboards, pens scratching vows of vigilance. Emily's row stirred. The woman beside her nudged her elbow. You signing, dear? Emily stared at the paper. I affirm traditional marriage, reject gender ideology, support reparative efforts. Her pen hovered, then snapped in half, ink bleeding black across the page. Heads turned. No, she said, loud enough to echo. I won't sign lies. The tent hushed, then erupted, murmurs swelling to outrage. Hale faltered on stage, spotlight pinning him like a specimen. Young lady, this is God's house. Dad surged from his seat, face thunderous, shoving through the aisle. Emily, what in God's name? His name. She stood, voice slicing clean. You invoke him to justify hate? Kicking out your own son because he loves differently? Gasps cascaded. Dad reached her, hand raised, but Sarah burst through the flap then. Rainbow pin on her lapel, phone live streaming. Let her speak. Allies emerged. The affirming teens from the forum, a quiet dad who'd lost his brother to suicide years back. Chaos bloomed, shouts, chairs toppling, Hale bellowing for order. Emily's moment seized her. She yanked the recorder free, holding it aloft like a torch. I've got proof. Your pastor's clan ties, Dad's affairs, the church's blood money to hate groups. The words detonated. Dad's face blanched. Hale sputtered denials. Fists flew. Someone hurled a program. Sarah pulled Emily back as security swarmed. In the melee, Uncle Ray lunged, snatching at her arm. Traitor! But she twisted away, bolting for the exit, rain lashing her face as she spilled into the night. The parking lot was a madhouse. Cars revving, horns blaring, voices clashing in the downpour. Emily dove into her Civic, hands shaking as she fired up the engine. Sarah piled in the passenger side, soaked and grinning. Holy shit! That was epic. Emily laughed, hysterical, tears mixing with rain. But as thunder cracked, Dad's truck roared up, blocking her path. He stormed out, silhouette massive against the headlights. Get out here. Now. She cracked the window, rain sluicing in. No, Dad. Not until you listen. He pounded the hood, veins bulging. You've ruined us. For that boy. The word boy twisted like a knife. Alex reduced to a curse. Mom appeared then, running from the tent in a cardigan, face streaked. Stop, both of you. She banged on Emily's door. Let me in. Hesitant, Emily unlocked. Mom slid into the back, dripping, eyes wild. I saw it all. The speech. Emily, forgive me. Dad loomed outside, fists clenched. Get in the truck, Karen. She's done. But Mom shook her head, fierce for the first time Emily could remember. No, our daughter's right. We did this to Alex, to ourselves. The admission hung, a bridge in the storm. Sirens wailed distant, cops called by the church. Dad deflated, shoulders slumping. Come home. We talk. Emily met his gaze, searching for the father who'd taught her to ride a bike. Only if you call Alex. Apologize. Silence stretched, rain drumming, then a nod small, grudging. Fine. They drove in convoy, the storm breaking as they pulled into Elm Street. Inside, the kitchen light glowed warm, a fragile truce. Emily emailed the drive anyway, insurance, she thought, titled Willow Creek's Hidden Sins, a daughter's reckoning. By morning, it would ripple outward. But that night, as Mom brewed tea and Dad stared at his hands, Emily called Alex. It's over, she whispered. We did it. His whoop echoed, Theo's voice in the background. Tell her she's a badass. Laughter bubbled, the first real one in months. Romance lingered in Alex's pause. Theo's making pancakes. Come soon. I will, she promised. The toppling had begun, not with thunder, but with a family's quiet unraveling. And in the wreckage, perhaps, room for grace. Dawn crept over Willow Creek like a hesitant apology, pink fingers brushing the maple leaves gold. Emily hadn't slept. The kitchen table was strewn with mugs gone cold, the air thick with the scent of chamomile and regret. Dad sat hunched, fingers tracing the grain of the wood, while Mom perched beside him, her hand tentative on his knee. Emily faced them, the journal open between them like a Bible of their failings, a testament to the empire they'd helped build, now teetering on the edge of collapse. The first cracks showed by breakfast. Dad's phone buzzed incessantly. Texts from the church board, voicemails from Hale. What have you done? The local news app pinged. Rally descends into chaos. Daughter accuses pastor of hypocrisy. Emily's email had landed, amplified by Sarah's livestream, which had gone viral overnight, views climbing into the thousands. Shares from queer advocacy groups in Columbus and beyond. Willow Creek's facade was peeling, revealing the rot beneath. Dad's face was a map of defeat, lines etched deeper. You sent it? To the papers. His voice was hoarse, not angry, broken. Emily nodded, chin lifted. Everything. The clan photos, the donations, your visits to Route 23. It's all out there. Mom gasped softly, but no surprise registered. She'd known in the quiet way wives do. Dad rubbed his eyes, shoulders sagging. I thought I was protecting us. From shame. From hell. The confession dribbled out, piecemeal. The loneliness after his own father's death. The pressure of providing. The church's easy answers masking his doubts. Alex. He reminded me of it. Of me. Hiding. Emily's anger softened at the edges, humanizing him in his frailty. Then why punish him for it? Dad had no answer, just a sigh that carried the weight of years. Mom spoke then, voice steady. Because we were scared. Of losing you both. Of what the town would say. She reached for Emily's hand. But losing you now, that's worse. The call to Alex came at noon. The house silence save for the tick of the wall clock. Emily put it on speaker, her pulse a drumbeat. Mom? Dad? Alex's voice crackled, wary. Theo's murmur in the background. Babe, breathe. Dad cleared his throat, the sound like gravel. Son. I'm sorry. The words tumbled awkward, halting. Apologies for the slap, the exile, the sermons that branded him other. I was wrong. About God, about you. Come home. If you want. Silence stretched, taut as a wire. Alex's breath hitched. Home? After everything. Hurt laced his tone, raw and real. Emily jumped in. It's changing, Alex. We are. He paused. Then, okay, but slow. Theo and we're coming together. Next weekend. Relief flooded the line, mingled with Theo's warm chuckle. Bring pie, Mrs. H. I hear you're a wizard. The days blurred into a tense limbo. The church imploded. Hale resigned amid scandals, the board scrambling to contain leaks. Ex-members coming forward with tales of coerced silence, youth scarred by shame. Dad quit the deaconate, his shop buzzing with whispers, but also tentative support from old clients who'd quietly harbored doubts. Mom started attending a progressive fellowship in the next county, her hymns softer, laced with questions. Emily? She thrived in the aftermath, her social work classes alive with purpose, volunteering at a hotline for queer youth that saw calls spike after the story broke. Alex and Theo arrived on a crisp Saturday, the old Ford pickup rattling up the drive like a prodigal's chariot. Emily burst out first, enveloping Alex in a hug that lifted him off his feet. He smelled of city rain and fresh starts, his frame filled out from steady meals. Theo unfolded behind him, tall, with a mop of curls and a shy smile that lit when Alex introduced him. My guy, the one who makes bad days bearable. Dinner was a minefield navigated with care. Meatloaf and mashed potatoes, Mom's recipe, served with stilted small talk. Dad extended a hand to Theo first. Welcome, son. The word son a bridge over chasms. Theo shook it firm, eyes kind. Thanks, Mr. Harper. Means a lot. Conversation flowed haltingly. Theo's art show in Cleveland, Alex's graphic design gig at a startup, dreams of a loft overlooking the lake. Laughter crept in. Alex mimicking Dad's old fishing stories, Theo sketching caricatures on napkins that had the table howling. Later, on the porch swing, Emily and Alex swayed under the stars. Crickets a serenade. It's weird, he admitted, head on her shoulder. Forgiving. But Theo, he says love's not a ledger. Emily squeezed his hand. You two are magic. The way he looks at you, like you're the only canvas that matters. Alex blushed, recounting their latest. A sunset hike where Theo proposed sketching sessions by the water, kisses deepening with the tide. It's romantic, real. No hiding. The toppling rippled wider. The Columbus Dispatch ran a feature, Willow Creek's Awakening. One family's stand against hate. Protests bloomed, counter-rallies with pride flags waving. The church tent repurposed for community dialogues. Uncle Ray slunk away, tail between legs, his threats evaporating in the light. Emily's dossier became a blueprint for activists, shared in hushed networks, toppling similar strongholds in neighboring towns. Yet humanism tempered the triumph. Not everyone redeemed. Hale fled to a rural outpost, unrepentant. Some neighbors crossed streets, their bigotry a scar that time might fade but never erase. Dad struggled most, nights pacing the den, Bible open to verses he now questioned. One evening he found Emily there, laptop glowing. That Ramirez boy, he grunted. Good kid. You two. Seeing each other. Emily startled, then smiled. Maybe, if I let myself. Winter softened into spring, Willow Creek greening with tentative hope. Alex and Theo moved closer, to Akron, a compromise. Weekends filled with barbecues where Dad grilled veggies for Theo's sake. Mom knit scarves in rainbow yarns. Emily dated Mark, their first real kiss under the same porch light that had witnessed Alex's exile, a full-circle grace. The story didn't end in fireworks, but in quiet mending. Letters exchanged, apologies etched in time. Emily's journal closed on a final entry. We toppled them, not with hate, but with truth. And in the ruins we built something human. For Alex, for us all. 1 year on at Alex and Theo's commitment ceremony. A backyard affair with wildflowers and acoustic guitar. Emily stood as witness, tears blurring the vows. In a world that tried to break us, Alex said, ring slipping onto Theo's finger. You showed me love wins. The crowd, family, friends, even Pastor Voss, cheered, rainbows arcing in the hose spray. Dad, misty-eyed, pulled Emily aside. Proud of you, kid. More than I ever said. As dusk fell, fireflies winking like stars fallen to earth, Emily raised a glass. To betrayals mended, empires humbled, and the romance that endures. Brother to brother in arms, sister to the fight, family to forgiveness. In America's heartland, where storms brew fierce, the light always finds a way.